Hi, I'm Ron Jones from Lean Berets. I'm here in Tucson, Arizona again with Enid Whitaker, the Managing Director of Bonnie Prudden Myotherapy. And we're going to talk about the history of Bonnie Prudden teaching workshops. And as a fitness professional today, most of the workshops out there, Enid, are 1 day, maybe 2 days, at the max 2.5 days. Once in a great while, we'll hear about someone doing an intensive, maybe a 5-day thing, but that's going to be way out in the fringe. But Bonnie routinely for years did like 5-day workshops where you had up to 300 people showing up. So I'd like to know more about that, and I think people in the fitness industry would like to hear about that too. And this is pre-certification era. People came to learn, right?
Right.
That was why they were there, not to get another piece of paper.
Well, one reason they were there was because Bonnie not only addressed the population that was there, she addressed the entire population. So once the group was introduced to a basic Bonnie Prudden program, then they were introduced how to adapt that program with all other age groups and abilities.
Okay.
So after the first day, she would say at the end of the day, okay, tomorrow when you come in, you're all 6 years old. And everybody would look at her, and then they'd realize they really needed to come in that frame of mind. And they would come in with their shoes on backwards, or big hats on, or with huge lollipops. And for the morning, we were all kids. And the music, of course, suggested what we should do to some of these things, like we all live in a yellow submarine. So the whole 100 people, no matter, or 300 people, no matter their age, were all submarines. But what they were actually doing was using their quadriceps.
Right, to get low and like,
yeah.
Okay.
Or she had one thing where we called it the drunken waiter. And we used frisbees, and the frisbee was the tray. And she'd put all the guys in one corner, and she would explain that, okay, you're all waiters, and you all need to get from this side of the restaurant to the other side of the restaurant with this tray with a bottle of wine and 2 glasses. But you've already had 2 glasses. And so these 30, 40, 50 men would be staggering all over the...
And moving their hips a lot. And
moving their hips, and actually using the legs in hundreds of different ways that you would not ordinarily use it. So they were improving their balance and the use of all the muscles in the legs.
They're having fun.
And they were having a horrendous time,
So she, I think you told me before on one of my other trips that she would also meet with the people and do some kind of little counseling session or interview, or didn't she meet with them individually and talk a little bit?
Well,
or in small groups as well?
That was during the myotherapy section.
Okay.
In addition to the exercise section, which she is the one that taught that, we had a myotherapy session going on where the myotherapist would actually be treating the people.
Oh, that were there.
And it was 2 separate groups.
Getting practice, Okay.
And then they would be getting their corrective exercise, and then late in the afternoon, after the one section was over, Bonnie would meet with the small group of people who had been treated.
Okay.
And that's when a lot of psychological stuff would come out that they wouldn't necessarily have told their younger patients, therapists.
Okay. So what was the format? You had a 5-day workshop. What would happen on day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? And what was the day like in terms of when you started, when you finished?
We started at 8:30 in the morning, and we went till 5:30 at night, and then there was a lecture in the evening usually.
So full day?
Full day,
yeah. And for 5 days?
And for 5 days. And basically, the first day was just the basic exercise program. And then different groups would be introduced throughout the week. Mothers and babies, toddlers, 3 to 5-year-olds, aqua exercise. How to work with teens, and then the different equipment would be introduced, like the wands, the frisbees, the blocks, the hoops, the ropes.
The calisthenic type drills on the floor routines too.
Right.
Okay. So really, it was for 5 days, it was a way to work with every conceivable population.
Right.
It was really holistic physical
including
education.
the blind and deaf and
Even disabled population.
Yes.
Well, what a wonderful experience.
Yeah.
And you did this not just once, but for years, right?
For years, yeah.
And did you have one of these a year, or?
We usually had 2 a year, one in the east and one in the west.
Really?
Yeah.
And up to 300 people would show up.
Yeah.
And those who would show up for a Bonnie Prudden 5-day?
A lot of YMCA people.
Okay.
And YWCA people.
Uh-huh.
A lot of recreation people.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody that was working with groups.
Okay.
But as well as just ordinary people that had heard about it and wanted to
Parents
to feel good.
Uh-huh.
And
What about medical, clinical people? Did you get some of them?
psychiatrists.
Psychiatrists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they seem to understand the mind-body connection better than anybody else.
Somebody got it, right?
Yeah.
Sound mind, sound body.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's wonderful. So I'd like to see some of that come back, because I've been taught that to get a real behavior change and a life-changing experience, you have to have an immersion for that 5-day mark, a week or so, is pretty critical. And it's hard to get that in just a 2-day thing. So from a shift standpoint, I think it would be nice to do something longer like that.
Well, the thing with Bonnie's program was that once you learned the basics,
Mm-hmm.
you could adapt it to any age group and ability you happen to be working with.
Right, right.
And so the basics of anything are important. If you don't have a foundation, you can't go anywhere.
The fundamentals.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what they were called in PE when I went to school in the
Right.
60s.
Right. Well, in American culture, we want to get to 10, right? But
Right.
people rarely learn 1 well before they go to 10, and there's a lot you can learn at 1.
Exactly. And that's what Bonnie's floor progressions were all about. Floor progressions are a way of getting from one corner of the room to another.
Mm-hmm.
And they're built on the locomotion movements that you need
Right.
if you're going to play any kind of sport. Walking, running, hopping, skipping, jumping, sliding, galloping.
Yes, and very important.
Forward, backward, sideways, zigzag, circles.
Mm-hmm.
And at different levels.
Mm-hmm.
But in the time, which was probably in the 70s, I would say, they were trying to teach creative movement.
Uh-huh.
But if you don't have the basic movements,
Right.
you can't be creative. So rain looked like, snow looked like, sleet looked like,
Yeah.
everything looked the same because there was no basic.
The foundation wasn't there.
Exactly.
So I taught a workshop in Phoenix yesterday, and I had some people over 60 skipping, and one of the ladies said, "I haven't skipped in 30 years." I said, "Well, maybe you should, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's good for you." So that's a look back at the history of fitness exercise workshops, the Bonnie Prudden way, 5 days, up to 300 people, everyone there wanting to learn, not just to get another certification, and having a good time, and being able to apply those physical education skills to multiple populations, including disabled populations as well. Thanks for that look back.